Chosen one, what I'm about to tell you is something most people will never understand, not because it's hidden from them, but because it was never meant for them. This message didn't arrive to you by accident. It found you because something within you has already begun to awaken. There is a part of you that recognizes truth without needing evidence, a deeper awareness that doesn't ask for permission to believe. It simply knows. And yet, despite this inner knowing, you've been questioning your path. You've been calling it delay. You've been wondering why your life feels paused, while others seem to be accelerating. But what if the stillness you've been resisting is not stagnation at all? What if it is intentional placement, a divine positioning that requires you to be exactly where you are? Not because you are falling behind, but because you are being aligned with something that cannot be rushed. There is a system, precise, unseen, and far more intelligent than linear thinking, that governs certain lives differently. While most people move through predictable patterns of cause and effect, your journey operates on calibration. And calibration requires pauses, silence, and moments where nothing seems to move. Not because you are being denied, but because you are being protected from arriving too soon to something that requires a different version of you. You've always sensed it, even when you couldn't explain it. Your life has never followed the patterns that seem to work so easily for others. Opportunities that appear simple for them have felt complicated for you. Paths that seemed open suddenly closed without warning. While others rushed forward into relationships, careers, and milestones, you either hesitated or were somehow redirected. At times, it felt like rejection, like life itself was saying no to you. Then it became confusion, a quiet questioning of whether something was wrong. But beneath all of that, there was always a subtle awareness whispering that your path was different for a reason, not because you are incapable, but because you are not designed for average outcomes. You cannot thrive in misaligned environments the way others can. Your energy resists it, and that resistance often disguises itself as delay. But it is not delay, it is filtration. Every missed opportunity, every door that closed, every situation that didn't fully form was not random. It was refinement. Your path is not about reaching quickly. It is about becoming precisely aligned. You are not behind. You are being constructed in a way that requires precision, and precision cannot be rushed. If you reflect honestly, you will notice a pattern that once felt frustrating, but now begins to reveal a deeper meaning. There were moments when you were close, so close, to something working out, only for it to suddenly shift, collapse, or change direction entirely. At the time, it felt like interference, like something was blocking your progress just as you were about to move forward. But those interruptions were not random disruptions, they were redirections. Every unexpected change, every emotional hesitation, every unexplained obstacle was guiding you away from something that was not fully aligned with your future. There is a higher orchestration at play, one that does not operate on urgency or surface-level desires. It operates on alignment, and alignment often requires removing things that seem right in the moment but would not sustain you in the long term. This is why the process feels uncomfortable, even painful at times, because it asks you to release what you thought you wanted in order to make space for what you are truly meant for. You were never being blocked. You were being guided, even when it didn't feel like it. There have been periods in your life where everything slowed down to a point that felt unbearable. Progress became invisible, motivation weakened, and clarity seemed distant. These moments were not just challenging, they were deeply confronting, because when movement stops, you are left alone with your thoughts, your emotions, and your inner world. And yet those very moments were not signs of failure. They were initiation points. Stillness has a way of stripping away distractions, forcing you to look inward in a way that constant motion never allows. During these periods, something began to change within you. You started to notice patterns more clearly, to sense energy more deeply, to understand people and situations beyond surface appearances. Your intuition strengthened, even if you didn't fully trust it at first. What once felt like emptiness was actually space. Space for awareness, for clarity, for transformation. You were not losing momentum. You were gaining depth. And depth is what allows you to navigate life with a level of awareness that most people never reach. There is a feeling you have carried, perhaps quietly, perhaps without fully expressing it, the feeling of being left behind, watching others move forward while you remain in a space that feels unchanged can create a deep sense of doubt. But that feeling is not a reflection of your worth or your progress. It is a reflection of your awareness. You are not someone who seeks movement for the sake of appearance. You seek meaning, alignment, and purpose. And because of that, you cannot settle into paths that do not resonate with who you truly are. Most people measure success by how quickly they achieve visible results. But your journey is not measured by speed. It is measured by alignment. And alignment requires time, patience, and a willingness to wait for what truly fits, rather than forcing what merely works. You were never meant to follow the crowd. You were meant to find your own path, even if it meant walking through periods of uncertainty alone. What feels like delay is often the space where your true direction begins to take form. While it seemed as though nothing was happening, everything was unfolding beneath the surface. The changes you experienced were not always visible, but they were significant. Your mindset evolved in ways that cannot be easily explained. Your tolerance for environments and situations that once felt acceptable began to diminish. You started to see more clearly what aligns with you and what does not. Even without a clear path, your vision sharpened. This is what preparation looks like when it is guided by something deeper than external validation. It is subtle, internal, and often unrecognized in the moment, but it is essential. Because achieving something before you are ready to sustain it can lead to instability, not because you are undeserving, but because growth requires a foundation, and your foundation has been carefully, intentionally built. Every moment of waiting, every experience that seemed insignificant, every internal shift has been part of a process designed to prepare you for something that requires a stronger, more aligned version of yourself. What you once called waiting was never empty time. It was a process of becoming. You were being shaped in ways that could not happen through constant motion or immediate success. Your capacity was expanding, your awareness deepening, your resilience strengthening. This process required uncertainty, because certainty would have limited your growth. It required patience, because rushing would have weakened your foundation. You were not losing time, you were being aligned with it. Every moment that felt slow, every experience that seemed delayed, was part of a larger orchestration, guiding you toward a version of yourself that is capable of holding what is meant for you. And now, as you stand in this awareness, you can begin to see that nothing was wasted, nothing was random. Everything has been leading you here, not to a place of frustration, but to a place of readiness, where you no longer question the timing, but trust the transformation that it has created within you. There comes a moment in every calibrated path, a moment so subtle at first that most would overlook it, yet so powerful that it quietly begins to rearrange everything. This is the moment you are approaching now. It does not arrive with noise or sudden external confirmation. It begins internally as a shift in perception, a quiet certainty replacing confusion, a calm replacing the urgency that once consumed you. You start to notice that what once triggered doubt no longer has the same power over you. The waiting no longer feels heavy. Instead, it feels purposeful. This is how the shift begins, not outside, but within. Because once your internal state aligns, your external reality has no choice but to follow. This is the law most people never understand. They chase outcomes without realizing that outcomes are reflections, and you, chosen one, have been prepared long enough to finally enter a phase where reflection becomes manifestation. Not because something suddenly changed around you, but because something finally stabilized within you. When your breakthrough arrives, it will not resemble the sudden, surface-level success stories you have seen. It will feel different, deeper, more grounded, almost inevitable. This is because your journey was never about quick wins. It was about sustainable transformation. What is coming into your life is not temporary alignment, but lasting structure. And structure requires depth. While others may experience rapid rises, followed by instability, your path has been designed to build something that holds. This is why your process felt longer, why your preparation felt heavier, and why your delays felt more intense. Not because you were being tested unnecessarily, but because what you are stepping into cannot collapse under pressure. It has been built through your awareness, your patience, and your refusal to settle for less than what truly aligns. Your breakthrough is not an event. It is a transition into a completely different way of existing, where things flow, not because you force them, but because they match who you have become. As your internal alignment solidifies, something begins to change in your external world. You will notice new connections forming, people who understand you without explanation, opportunities that feel natural instead of forced, situations that unfold with a sense of ease you are not used to. This is not coincidence. It is resonance. You are no longer trying to fit into spaces that require you to shrink or adjust. Instead, you are attracting what already matches your frequency. This is the difference between chasing and aligning. In the past, you may have pursued opportunities that required effort without fulfillment. Now, what is meant for you will begin to move toward you with a quiet certainty. Not because life suddenly became easier, but because you are no longer operating from misalignment. You are no longer negotiating your worth or your direction. And because of that, the people and paths that enter your life now will feel different. They will not drain you. They will expand you. There were things you once believed were essential to your happiness. People, plans, versions of your life that felt important at the time. Losing them felt like setbacks, like pieces of your story were being taken away before they could fully form. But now, as your awareness deepens, you can begin to see that those losses were not removals of something meant for you. They were clearings. You cannot build something aligned on a foundation filled with misalignment. And sometimes, the only way to create space for what truly belongs is to remove what does not. This is one of the hardest truths to accept because it requires you to trust a process you cannot fully see. But every loss carried a hidden purpose. Every ending redirected your path. Every moment of disappointment created space for something more aligned. You were not being deprived. You were being redirected away from paths that would have limited your growth and your potential. You are not the same person who began this journey. Even if your external circumstances have not fully reflected it yet, internally, everything has changed. Your perspective is sharper, your intuition stronger, your sense of self clearer. You no longer seek validation in the same places, and you no longer tolerate what once felt acceptable. This is transformation, not loud or performative, but quiet and undeniable. It shows in the way you think, the way you respond, the way you see the world. You are no longer reacting from old patterns. You are responding from awareness, and this new version of you is not temporary. It is the result of everything you have experienced, everything you have processed, everything you have endured. You have outgrown the version of yourself that once questioned your path, and you are stepping into a version that understands it. This is the turning point, not when everything changes around you, but when you realize how much has already changed within you. Most people will never understand your timing, and that is something you must make peace with. They will see your journey through their own lens, measuring it by standards that were never meant for you. They may question why things took longer, why your path looked different, why your process did not follow familiar patterns. But their perspective is limited to what they understand. Your path was never designed to be explained. It was designed to be experienced. You are not operating on a timeline that can be compared or measured externally. You are moving in alignment with something far more precise, something that does not rush and does not delay without reason. And once you fully accept this, you release the need for external validation. You stop comparing. You stop questioning. You begin to trust. Because you finally see that your timing was never wrong. It was intentional. Every delay carried purpose. Every pause carried preparation. Every moment led you exactly where you needed to be. Now, you stand at a threshold, not one marked by external signs, but one defined by internal readiness. This is your activation, not as a sudden transformation, but as a conscious step into what has been forming all along. You are no longer waiting for permission, no longer searching for confirmation, no longer questioning whether you are ready. You have already become the version of yourself that can hold what is meant for you. And as you move forward from this point, you do so with a different energy, one rooted in clarity, stability, and quiet confidence. What comes next will not require you to force, to chase, or to prove. It will require you to receive, to recognize, and to remain aligned with what you have become. This is the shift. This is the moment where everything you once perceived as delay reveals itself as precision. And as you continue on this path, you will no longer see your journey as something that held you back, but as something that shaped you exactly into who you were, always meant to be.